Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1889B, and today's date is June 10th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Game Theory, Expose It All. The world is watching. Enjoy the show. Father's Day is right around the corner, and one of the best gifts you can give Dad this holiday season is the Patriot flashlight. So what do you get with the Patriot flashlight? Well, you never have to waste money on batteries. It's solar powered. It lights up the darkest of nights. It has life-saving emergency strobe lights. You can charge your phone anywhere. Users have reported this flashlight to be an all-in-one lifesaver. Patriot flashlight is the perfect gift for Dad this holiday. Limited supplies last, and this is the very last chance to get yours at a discount before they sell out. Use code X20 and get 20% off the Patriot flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, what we're watching the deep state panic, and they're trying to do whatever they possibly can to show that they're still going after Trump, and they have power, and they have the ability to impeach. Think about Jerry Nadler. He's the House Judiciary Chairman. And supposedly he reached this deal with the Department of Justice one day before the House is set to hold Attorney General William Barr in contempt for not complying with their subpoenas in regards to former Special Counsel Robert Mueller's report. Remember, they wanted the evidence, they wanted the unredacted report, and Barr is already giving them this. And Nadler, one day before, is saying, okay, we reached a deal. We're not going to hold them in contempt. I don't think Barr was really worried about this at all. This is a show that they're putting on. Think about what is happening today. Who did they drag in to have as witnesses? John Dean. Now, John Dean, the last time he testified to the House Judiciary Committee was in July 11th, 1974. 45 years ago. I mean, this is during Nixon. John Dean is also a CNN contributor. Imagine that. And ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, Doug Collins, ripped the Democrats on Monday during the hearing. He said, "It was brought up when one of our candidates talked about Russia being a threat, and former President Obama said the 80s are asking for their foreign policy back." Well, guess what? This committee is now hearing from the 70s, and they want their star witness back. Gates, he completely went off on John Dean, on everyone that was in this hearing. He says that Dean, he's just a prop. This is a show. Take a listen to what Gates said.
Reopening the impeachment inquiry potentially into Richard Nixon, sort of playing out our own version of that 70s show. And what I really regret
it is striking, Mr. Gates,
here as a prop. You are functionally here as a prop because they can't impeach President Trump because 70% of Democrats want something that 60% of Americans don't. So they're in this no-win situation, and you sit before us here with no knowledge of a single fact from the Mueller report on a hearing entitled Lessons from the Mueller Report.
Mr. Gates, can I answer your question, please?
It's not your time, Mr. Dean. It's my time. So here's the deal, right? We have a false accusation against the President of the United States that he was an agent of Russia. My colleagues on the Democratic side made that accusation. And so where do we go from here? Either we look into how the president reacted to a false allegation against him, or we look into why for 22 months, we allowed a false accusation to tear this country apart. Now, to me, it seems like a far more relevant inquiry to figure out why the FISA court was lied to, something that you have spoken a great deal about, Mr. Dean, to find out why the recordings and the transcripts from George Papadopoulos, where he asserted that he wasn't doing any work with Russia, was not brought before the FISA court. No.
Now, Gates is absolutely right. John Dean is a prop. Why did Nadler ask this individual to be a witness and testify in front of the House Judiciary? Because it goes back to Nixon. They're trying to show how Trump is like Nixon. He obstructed justice. They're trying to make the parallels. They're trying to show the American people, look, we have the same thing going on today. This individual has nothing to do with Mueller. This person has nothing to do with anything. He's not a witness. But they're rolling him out. Why? Think about it. Because they have nothing. Why are the patriots allowing this to happen? They're exposing these individuals for what they really are and what they're trying to do. America is looking at this, scratching their head, saying, why is this happening right now? Who is this person? Why are they there? Didn't the Mueller report already say there was no collusion, there was no obstruction? Yes, I know there's going to be a small pocket of people saying, oh yes, yay, look, it's happening. But the majority of people today are saying, no, this doesn't make sense anymore. And this is being done on purpose. Trump tweeted out the following. Can't believe they are bringing in John Dean, the disgraced Nixon White House counsel who is paid CNN contributor. No collusion, no obstruction. Democrats just want a do-over, which they'll never get. Now, the patriots, they are allowing this to happen. Remember that. Q has told us many, many times before, enjoy the show. That's what we're watching. This is a show. And the American people, they're sitting in the front row watching this. They're watching how this is all being played out. And guess what? The people are catching on. They're starting to realize what is happening here. Now, it turns out that Mueller was using GPS cell phone towers to exploit and to spy on certain Trump associates. And what we're seeing here is that they were doing this during the transition period. The special counsel's report discloses the use of this investigative technique by which police determine a suspect's location via a cell phone's GPS signal. He was following Blackwater founder Eric Prince. Now, I personally don't like this individual. And we know that he uses paid mercenaries for certain operations, and whoever hires him, he will use the paid mercenaries. Let me continue. The Prince narrative is one instance in unredacted sections of the report in which Mr. Mueller's team explicitly discloses cell phone tracking. It raises the question of whether the FBI applied the process to other investigative subjects. A phone's GPS signal can disclose its exact location within a few feet. Paul Sperry tweeted out the following. Why was the Mueller investigating the Trump transition to the point of grabbing the cell site location data for the brother of Trump's Ed secretary to see when he was at Trump Tower, if the transition was outside the scope of his mandate to investigate activities during the campaign? That's the question. Why? Well, I think we're going to find this out very, very soon. Now, Carter Page, he explains he was a decade-long source for the FBI and the CIA. Because when we look at this, and we look at the whole case with Carter Page, it never made sense that the U.S. person Carter Page was an FBI witness from 2013 through May 2016, and yet in October 2016 to achieve a FISA warrant. The FBI called him an agent of foreign government. It never made sense until, with more information about the Mueller investigation, we realized the FISA warrant was essentially irrelevant. What the Obama intel apparatus needed for their insurance policy was the dossier. Carter Page states he was a long-standing source of information for the intelligence apparatus, specifically for the CIA for decades. Secondly, the framework by Page as outlined and the underlying motive of the FBI to use him as an unwitting target for the FISA application is essentially confirmation of our prior reconciled point on why the FBI exploited him. Fusion GPS was not contracted in April 2016 to research Trump. The intelligence community was already doing unlawful NSA database surveillance and political spy operations. They already knew everything about the Trump campaign. The Obama intelligence community needed Fusion GPS to give them a plausible justification, an insurance policy for pre-existing surveillance and spy operations. Carter Page was not accused of being an agent of foreign government to get a FISA warrant. That was secondary. Carter Page was accused of being an agent of foreign government to get the Steele dossier into the investigation. The dossier was used to validate and justify John Brennan's spying operation. Remember, the NSA database, it was being exploited for political surveillance operations since mid-2012. And this is Obama spying on political targets, spying everywhere. They used FISA 702.1617 search process and never informed the FISA court. This is how Admiral Mike Rogers fits in. Remember, he was alerted to a significant uptick about queries by contractors. The uptick was aligned with the timing of the GOP presidential primary race. The NSA compliance officer alerted NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers, who then initiated a full compliance audit around March 9, 2016, for the period of November 1st, 2015 through May 1st of 2016. Everything after March 9, 2016 was done to cover up the weaponization of the FISA database. And here's where Carter Page comes in. The FBI didn't need the FISA warrant for additional investigation. The FBI needed a Russian narrative to protect themselves from Trump. The FBI needed the Steele dossier to justify political surveillance, spying, and their pre-existing investigation and mount a defense in the event of a Trump victory. Why do you think they were so worried when Trump won? Because they never covered up anything. They just left it all out in the open. And guess what? They were able to piece everything together. And when he won, this is when they introduced all this, because they said, okay, we need a way to cover all this up. If we don't cover it up, it's going to show that we were spying on everyone illegally. Well, guess what? The cover-up always gets you. And this is why they needed Carter Page, to introduce the Steele dossier. Without Carter Page, the Steele dossier is an assembled political file with a bunch of speculative claims about the opposition campaign of presidential candidate. Without Carter Page, the Steele dossier is a binder of information, a file sitting on a desk at the FBI. How could the FBI ever justify investigating the opposition research of a rival candidate for office? How could they ever get past the sourcing issues? How could they explain their blind eye to the provenance? How could they ever justify using the Steele dossier? They need some justification to exploit the dossier. The FBI needed to use Carter Page as a way to inject the Steele dossier into a pre-existing investigation of the Trump campaign. This brings me to Ted Cruz. They used the Steele dossier as a cover-up of Russian collusion and everything like that. Why did they spy on Ted Cruz? Remember, there's no cover-up there. They were spying without a warrant. They were spying on Ted Cruz because they were just spying on him to get a political advantage. Completely illegal. Why do you think the patriots are holding this information? Why hasn't this been brought out into the open? Because they're going to catch all these individuals in their lies, and they're going to use it against them, because they're going to continually make the case that we were doing this because of the Steele dossier, because of the Russian collusion. They're going to introduce Ted Cruz and most likely many other people. Why? Because they have the records. It's that simple. They're allowing all these people to expose themselves, to lie, and to continue on with the Russian narrative, because this is going to bury them. Remember, the cover-up is going to get all of them. And they're continually lying to cover their lies. And now we're getting word that Comey's draft statement exonerated Clinton 2 months before her FBI interview. That was not normal protocol. Documents previously released by the FBI show that Comey on May 2nd, 2016, sent the email in question to McCabe, FBI General Counsel James Baker, and Chief of Staff and Senior Counselor James Rybicki. Clinton was interviewed by the FBI on June 2nd, with Comey later testifying that she was not sworn in and that the interview was not recorded. 2 months before Clinton's FBI interview, Comey circulated the draft statement testing language to be used for not recommending charges against Clinton. Former Representative Bob Goodlatte, who served as chairman of the House Judiciary Committee at the time of McCabe's December 21st, 2017 testimony, read aloud Comey's email. A transcript of the testimony was released 3 weeks ago by House Judiciary Committee ranking member Doug Collins, although the portion in question did not receive media attention. Goodlatte read Comey's email as follows. The paragraph of the May 2nd draft reads as follows. Accordingly, although the Department of Justice makes final decisions on matters such as this, I am completing the investigation by expressing to Justice my view that no charges are appropriate in this case. Goodlatte noted this paragraph is virtually identical to what Director Comey eventually said more than 2 months later on July 25th, 2016, in recommending no charges against Secretary Clinton. It seems to confirm that the FBI, including the director, had made up its mind not to charge Secretary Clinton before interviewing her. Judicial Watch Tom Fitton said the following. These incredible documents show the leadership of the FBI rushed to give Hillary Clinton her FBI interview report shortly before the election. And the documents also show the FBI failed to timely document interviews in the Clinton email matter, further confirming the whole investigation was a joke. And you can see that every single day, more and more information is coming out. And this is part of the show. This is part of the game theory. Allow these people to expose themselves. Allow these people to continually lie, to use the Russian narrative, and have them continually say all this stuff. And when it comes time, they're going to get hit with all this other information, because this information is documented. It's recorded. And once they are out there saying, well, we were surveilling Trump because of Russian collusion, because the Steele dossier, they're going to bring up Ted Cruz. They're going to bring up somebody else if they try to lie about Ted Cruz, or if they have something. They're going to bring up somebody else. Then they're going to bring up somebody else. And everyone in the U.S. is going to start to realize, wait a minute, this is just too many people now. Are you trying to tell me that every single person was colluding with Russia and this is why they were spying on them? No, people are smarter than that. People are going to realize what was really going on here. We had an administration that was spying on American people that were running to be president or any other office in government. The entire house of cards is now wobbling, and it's going to fall down. It's going to collapse under the weight of lies. Let's head down to the border here, because Trump is saying that we have another very important deal with Mexico. He says it's now finished. He tweeted out the following. Now with our new deal, Mexico is doing more for the USA on illegal immigration than the Democrats. In fact, the Democrats are doing nothing. They want open borders, which means illegal immigration, drugs, and crime. We have fully signed and documented another very important part of the immigration and security deal with Mexico, one that the U.S. has been asking about getting for many years. It will be revealed in the not-too-distant future and will need a vote by Mexico's legislative body. We do not anticipate a problem with the vote, but for any reason the approval is not forthcoming, tariffs will be reinstated. Now, the agreement will have fiscal implications and may over time also have economic, social, security, and political implications for the president of Mexico and his administration. And we already see the Mexican military officials, they have reportedly started to target those individuals riding the beast train on their way to the U.S. southern border. And this was the first operation of its kind since Mexico and the U.S. signed the agreement to stop the invasion at the U.S. southern border. And we can see that Mexico, they have deployed a number of military individuals on the border to do what the agreement says, to control the border. And we'll have to see how this all plays out as we move forward. Now, this should be a good thing, right? Where we're stopping drug traffickers, we're stopping human trafficking, we're getting people to go to the port of entry, and we're stopping individuals coming into the country without permission. Now, we should all be for this, but there are certain individuals like Nancy Pelosi and others who do not like this at all. And we have to scratch our head and say, why don't they like this? Because this doesn't allow their voting base to grow. It doesn't allow their agenda to move forward. It stops it. This is why they don't like this. And from the very beginning, Trump has been exposing all these individuals. And it's continuing. And this is being done on purpose. Trump wants to show how these individuals in government, they're not really working for the American people. They're not working in the best interest of the American people. And every day he is showing this to the American people. And this is going to continue on. Because what they're about to do is they're about to expose all of this. You don't think they have all the information? Of course they do. Let's head out to Iraq, the Middle East. And what we're seeing there is things are starting to change. Now remember, Trump is removing troops from the Middle East. He's stopping all these endless wars. I know people don't believe this, but he's fighting against the deep state. They want the wars. The neocons want the wars. He's trying to end them. But we can see the coalition. Well, they're having a problem now because a lot of the U.S. soldiers have been removed from Syria. A lot of the soldiers are being removed from Iraq. And the coalition forces, they're having a very difficult time. New Zealand right now, they've decided that they're going to withdraw their forces in Iraq over the next year. And this is going to spread to Australia, and it's going to spread to many other countries that have soldiers in these areas, which means that these endless wars are going to be coming to an end. Now, very interestingly, we are seeing the German foreign minister, the European delegation, the Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, they've all met in Iran, and they're discussing the nuclear deal. And this entire meeting has been kicked off because Iran's president signaled on May 8th that the country could soon violate terms of the agreement known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. And all these individuals are there, and they're discussing, should we stick with the deal or shouldn't we stick with the deal? And I believe very, very soon, Trump is going to be receiving a call from Iran. Now, we know that the social media giants, the tech companies, they've been censoring many, many people. Trump has been tweeting out, telling Twitter, listen, you better restore those banned accounts of conservatives. This is a warning to all of you. We know that YouTube is doing. We know that Facebook just banned, I believe, Natural News. I believe Daily Beast put out some type of article, which was a hit piece and got Natural News completely wiped off of Facebook. But Project Veritas, they tweeted out something very interesting. And they said, tomorrow, Big Tech Insider steps forward. They're going to shock Silicon Valley. Keep an eye out. Or get the video straight to your inbox and gives us a link. So, looks like they've been doing some undercover work. And it seems like this is going to be blown wide open once again. And I want to leave everyone with Joe M's tweet. This is at Storm is Upon Us. Because it kind of sums up everything that we're seeing right now. Game theory is to keep the criminals guessing and the public safe. Nobody will know the hour. The only certainty is that you will not expect it. Tick tock. And that is what the patriots are doing. This is all part of the plan. They're keeping the deep state, the players, off balance, exposing themselves, making them use ammunition when it's not even needed. And they continually do it. And as they do it, they expose more of what they're all about. And guess what? It will be released when you least expect it. When they least expect it. This is all part of the show. This is part of the plan. Enjoy the ride. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.